Are you looking for a way to be confident in your legal research? Well, you've come to the right place because I'm going to show you how Shepards on Lexis Advance will give you that confidence and help you to really shine. My name is Eric Dye, and I am your Lexis rep at your law school. In addition to me, you actually have classmates who are Lexis student reps who are available to help you out. You may have seen them at tables around your campus. You can contact us easily by going to the Lexis Law School homepage at lawschool.lexis.com. Once on the homepage, you'll notice all of our contact information on the lower left-hand side. Feel free to reach out to us if you need help. Additionally, Lexis has a 24/7 hotline available to you at 1-800-45-LEXIS, which you can call if you're unable to reach myself or one of the student representatives. Before I jump into showing you more about Shepards today, let me just give you a little bit about my background. I come to my role as your Lexis rep by way of having attended UC Davis Law School in Northern California. I then served as an attorney to the California State Legislature in a nonpartisan role drafting bills and legal opinions for 5 years, and then I clerked for 2 Michigan judges. So I have lots of experience with legal research and writing that I'm looking forward to using to help all of you get the most out of Lexis Advance, because I have found Shepards and Lexis to be the easiest and quickest way to get what I need when doing my legal research. So the purpose of today's workshop is to show you the ins and outs of Shepards. The process I will use to achieve this will be to use Shepards right alongside you guys today to show you 3 things. 1, how to use Shepards to validate your research, so to make sure you're still working with good law. 2, how to use Shepards to expand your research, so to find cases that'll help you learn more about the law. And 3, to let you guys know that you can Shepardize statutes, regulations, and law reviews in addition to cases. The payoff will be that you will feel confident and ready to Shepardize any document and really impress your employer this summer and after law school. So to make sure we're all on the same page, let me just say a few words about what Shepards is. Shepards is a citator. It is going to show you every document that cites to your document, and it is going to tell you then if your document is still good law. The Shepard system was developed by Frank Shepard, and it has been around for over 140 years, and it really is the gold standard in the legal industry that lawyers rely upon. And it's only available on LexisNexis. So that's why it's so great you're tuning into this training today. To show you the importance of Shepards and understanding Shepards, I'm going to show you a real-life example from the O.J. Simpson murder trial in the 1990s. In this example, the prosecutor, Marcia Clark, got into some trouble when it was apparent that she hadn't Shepardized a key statute.
In this case, we have no newly discovered facts with respect to the motion for reconsideration of Laura McKinney.
But doesn't the case law dealing with that particular code section include criminal cases? If you Shepardize that, you come up with some criminal cases.
We did. I believe that none were found, Your Honor. We don't have any in our motion, which leads me to believe that no, there aren't any criminal cases under that section. And you asked me that question because you knew Ms. Lewis wrote the motion, huh?
No.
But no, as far as I know, there are no criminal law cases that involve that section because it's not recognized in criminal law. So, I mean, at least in theory, we didn't have to have all the argument. But
so if my Pepperdine law clerks found some.
Did they? Criminal cases? And what do they say?
Say it's applicable to criminal law cases.
Okay.
There's a rule in the civil procedure that an unfounded motion for reconsideration is the subject of sanctions. Just an aside.
Okay, so I don't think any of you want to end up in the shoes of Marcia Clark. And you won't. By following the information that I give you today, you'll be able to Shepardize confidently and not end up in that position. So, let me just go ahead and jump right in. The first thing I want to show you is how you can use Shepards to validate your research. And I'm going to show you this by using the example of the federal case of United States v. Lee. So to get to the case, I'm actually going to get there from the Lexis Advance page itself and not from the law school homepage. I like to start with the law school homepage and you should too, because this will have all the tools you need to get started. But then I just go to Lexis Advance by clicking Go to Lexis Advance, to get me to Lexis Advance with my full array of search options at my disposal. Once I'm there, to use this United States v. Lee case as an example, I'm going to go ahead and type in the citation. 22 F. 3rd 736. And then go ahead and click the magnifying glass to find the case. So any case you pull up is going to look something like this. One of the first things you'll notice is right next to the case name will be a little symbol. This is a Shepard symbol. These Shepard symbols will give you kind of a heads up about how other cases that have cited to your case have treated your case. So in this case, this Shepard symbol is a red stop sign, and if you hover over the symbol, we're going to tell you what that means. This indicates that there are other cases out there, at least one other case out there, that is cited to our case, United States v. Lee, and treated it negatively in some way. To see all the different ways all the different cases have handled our case, and to see what all the different Shepard symbols mean based on how they handled our case, you can go to the right-hand side of the screen. And these Shepard symbols really work like traffic symbols. So you can imagine a stop sign means stop. But just like with traffic, when you see a stop sign, you stop, but you don't stay there indefinitely. You look both ways and then you proceed. Similarly, with Shepards, when you see a stop sign, that doesn't mean stop, throw out the case, and don't use it. It means stop and start lawyering, which means you start looking into the matter by running a Shepards report to find out whether or not you actually can use your case or not. So let me show you how that works. Let's go ahead and run a Shepards report on United States v. Lee. So when you have a case pulled up to run a Shepards report, you can click on the Shepard symbol itself, or you can just go ahead to the right-hand side of the screen and click Shepardize this document. And when you go into a Shepards report, you're going to see that there are 4 major components when you do a Shepards report for a case: appellate history, citing decisions, other citing sources, and table of authorities. Now, when you're looking to validate your work and to use Shepards to validate your work, you're really going to be mostly concerned with appellate history and citing decisions. We start you off with the appellate history. With United States v. Lee, there really isn't any appellate history. All you're going to see is the case you pulled up itself. But if United States v. Lee, which is a Court of Appeals decision, had been appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court and they reversed it, for instance, that U.S. Supreme Court decision would show up in here in the appellate history, because the appellate history is going to show you the entire chain of litigation for your case. What you tend to be most concerned about is the citing decisions. So let's go ahead and click into citing decisions. This is going to give us a list of all of the cases that cited to our case, United States v. Lee. Here we have about 20. So this is a list of all the cases that cited to our case, and just like everything else on Lexis, you're going to want to start narrowing down. So on the left-hand side of the screen, there are options for narrowing down your results. One of the quickest ways to figure out which cases to be concerned about or be interested in is to narrow down by analysis. And what that means is we've narrowed down how these cases have treated your case. So one of these cases, it's cited to our case and it overruled our case in part. We're also going to be able to let you narrow down by cases that followed our case. Only Shepards on LexisNexis is going to show you true positive treatment, which is extremely important because oftentimes you want to cite to a case and there's no negative history, but you actually want to find positive history. You want to find other courts that agree with your case to make your argument even stronger when you're citing to that case. The more courts you can have that stand for your position, the better. And only Lexis with Shepards is going to give you that true positive. Another way that you can view all these citing decisions that cite to your case, in addition to the list view, is to use the grid view, which is a nice, easy visual way to see everything that has been going on with the cases citing to your case. So to get there, click grid on the upper right-hand side of the screen. And you'll see a nice little chart that shows you each jurisdiction that has cited to your case and then how they treated your case. So right off the bat, you can see that the 7th Circuit was the one that treated your case the most negatively. So you could get to that case by narrowing down using the narrow by option on the left-hand side of the list, or just go to the grid view and then go ahead and click on the red icon here. Right now I'm most concerned about the negative treatment, so let's go ahead and click on that. And what you'll see is that we pull up the case that cited to your case in a negative way, and it was United States v. Howes. And when you go into a case, we're going to tell you a little bit more about how it's cited to your case. We've got the kind of broad category earlier that says there was a warning in this case. You go into this case and you see that we tell you this case cited to United States v. Lee by overruling it in part, but also following it in part. And the way that can happen is because cases oftentimes have multiple holdings. So United States v. Lee had multiple holdings, and here the Howes case overruled one of them, but it followed the other. And the way you can find out more information about how it did that is to actually go into the Howes case itself, which we link you to the page in the case where it overruled and followed your case. To get there, just click the link next to the description of how Howes treated Lee. And we're going to take you right to that page in the case. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight the portion where the court talks about how it overruled the portion of Lee dealing with the treatment of theft, but the other principal holding of Lee, that classification must be based on the elements of the offense as revealed in the charging papers, they upheld that. That remains good law. And only Shepards on LexisNexis is going to show you this distinction, because only Shepards is going to show you positive treatment. Another citator would show you that there was a partial overruling, but it's not going to tell you, but there's also a part that was followed. So you might just be tempted to see, oh, part of it was overruled, and toss the case. Shepards is going to give you that heads up that there might be a part of the case you can use. In this instance, if you wanted to use the holding from Lee dealing with the charging papers, Howes upheld that, so you could certainly still use Lee for that proposition. So this is the really powerful way that you can use Shepards to validate your research. In addition to using Shepards to validate your research, you can also use it to expand your research. So to show you that, I'm going to go back to the Shepards Report for United States v. Lee. Okay, here we are back at the Shepards Report for United States v. Lee. So to expand your research, you can imagine there might be a time when a partner or a supervising attorney hands you a case like United States v. Lee and wants you to look into it more. You read over the case, you don't really understand the area of law it's talking about, so you want to expand your research by being able to learn more about the area of law at issue in your case. You can use Shepards to do that for you. One way you can use a Shepards report to help expand your research is to go into Citing Decisions. You can use those to validate your research, but you can also use them to expand your research, because you can imagine that a decision that cites to your case is probably dealing with the same subject matter as your case, and the court that cites to your case might explain that subject matter in a way that'll help you out more in understanding the area of law. Additionally, you can go to other citing sources, right here. These are going to be law reviews and treatises and other secondary sources that cite to your case. These secondary sources are written by experts in the area of law, and if they're citing to your case, they're probably talking about the area of law that you're interested in. So this is a really helpful way to expand your research. And then finally, you can also click into Table of Authorities, which I'm going to go ahead and do. And Table of Authorities is going to give you a list of all of the cases that your case, United States v. Lee, cites to. So earlier we were looking at Citing Decisions, which are all the other cases that cite to our case. Table of Authorities is all the cases that our case cites to. So these are the cases that our case relies upon. And this will help you expand your research, because oftentimes your case is going to cite to the seminal or the key cases in the area of law you're trying to learn more about. And this will take you right to those cases. So for instance, this is a U.S. Supreme Court case, probably a seminal case that's going to be useful to you. A practice tip here: in addition to using Table of Authorities to expand your research to make your own argument, opposing counsel will oftentimes cite to a case in their brief. You can then take that case, search it on Lexis Advance, run a Shepards report on that case, then go into Table of Authorities and take a look at all the cases that case opposing counsel relied upon is relying upon itself, If that case opposing counsel cited to is based on a bunch of cases where you're seeing a whole bunch of red stop signs in the table of authorities, there might be some weaknesses there that you're going to want to make sure you include in your response brief. So these are the ways you can use the Shepards Report to expand your research. One final thing I want to make sure you guys are aware of is that in addition to Shepardizing cases, you can also Shepardize statutes. You can basically Shepardize any document in which other documents might cite to that document. So I want to show you how to Shepardize a statute. In fact, statutes are really important. You might recall earlier in the O.J. Simpson clip that I showed you, that whole issue was about whether or not the prosecutor had properly Shepardized a statute to see whether or not it applied in the criminal law context. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to Shepardize a statute by using a federal statute dealing with computer fraud as an example. So I'm going to go ahead to go to the search bar at the top of my screen, type in the statute, 18 U.S.C. 1030, and go right to that statute. And here we are in the statute, and once you're in the statute, just like with cases, to Shepardize the statute, you have a Shepardize this document option on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And when you get into a Shepards report for a statute, you're going to have three main components on the left-hand side of the screen. Just like with cases, you're going to have citing decisions and other citing sources, except in this case, instead of these decisions and sources citing to a case, they're citing to your statute. Additionally, you're going to have legislative history. This is the legislative history of your statute. And it's going to give you the timeline and the bills that were passed to adopt the statute initially, in this case 1984, and all the different bills that amended your statute all the way through the process. This will be an important thing to check, because sometimes opposing counsel might cite to an old version to a statute, or maybe there was a period of time in which the statute was repealed and then it came back. That timing might be important to you. Looking at the legislative history is going to be an important way to make sure you don't let any of those sorts of things slip through the cracks. So let me go back to the main Shepards Report page itself. Two other things to point out about a Shepards Report for a statute. We're also going to alert you if there's pending legislation right here. What that means is that right now, this is a federal statute, so if there's pending legislation, it would be in Congress. So that means that right now there are bills in Congress that propose to amend our statute, Section 1030 of Title 18 of the United States Code. And if you click on pending legislation, we'll give you a list of those bills that propose to amend the statute. You want to just check those bills out to see how they're proposing to amend the statute. Just because there are bills out there proposing to amend the statute doesn't mean you can't use the statute. You just want to make sure you know what those bills are proposing to do in case it may impact your issue if those bills become law. The other thing to point out in a Shepards report for a statute is the subsection reports by specific court citation option. What that means is we're going to give you the ability to run a Shepards report within a Shepards report on a particular subsection of a statute. Only Shepards will let you do this. So a statute like 1030 has subsections A, B, C, D, and E. Let's say you only care about 1030E. If you click on subsection reports, we'll give you the option to run a Shepards report on just section 1030E. So that means you're just going to see the citing decisions and other citing sources that cite to subsection E of your statute, which can help save you a lot of time sifting through sources that cite to other parts of the statute that you're not concerned with. So I know I told you that I was going to stop with talking about how to Shepardize a statute, but I want to just give you one more tip before we finish today, and that is to let you know that we have the option to run a Shepards report. What a Shepards report will do is it'll alert you if there are any changes to the case or the statute that you're Shepardizing. So you can imagine a situation in which you run a Shepards report, but your brief or memo is not due for another month. The law can change in that time, and you want to make sure you're updated about that. So rather, you don't have to go into Lexis and run a Shepards report yourself every day. If you click the little bell icon at the top of your Shepards report, that'll give you a pop-up screen which will allow you to enter in your email and tell Lexis to run a Shepards report on your statute or case each day. And then just make sure in that pop-up box that you indicate that you just want to be alerted when a change is detected. And once you've done that, we'll keep you up to date on any changes in the law that happen between the time you first run your Shepards report and when your brief or memo is due. So today I showed you how to use Shepards to validate your work, expand your research, and Shepardize statutes, regulations, and law reviews in addition to cases. This will help you be an exceptional attorney who is on top of your work. And using the information you learned here today will certainly help you avoid ever being in a situation like Marcia Clark in the O.J. Simpson trial. Now, I know that was a lot of information, but please know that you're not alone. You can always go to the law school homepage and reach out to me, your student reps, or call the 1-800 number. So for each of you who participated in today's training, if you answered the quiz in the link to the Google form below this video by March 25th, 2016, I will give you 400 points. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck with the rest of the semester.